Hey, how's it going, everyone? Let me show you what the new version of the culling script can do. This is version 4.0. I added two objects onto the scene. One's a platformer object, and this is to show you like one of the things you need to watch out for when using this script. And the other one's just an object at an angle. So the last version that I showed on video was a very basic version. I think it was like 1.0, right? And it could not handle a lot of things. It just did the basic culling and recreating. This one is shiny. This one does all sorts of awesome stuff. This is up to 4.0. So, the last version did not handle long objects or tiled sprites or anything like that. The moment the origin point of the object got off screen or off the buffer area, the object got completely culled. Not anymore. Now we use the bounding box, meaning we check for the entirety of the object. As you can tell, everything is being culled around the object, but the long object stays in screen. I mean, it stays created. It hasn't been culled yet. But the moment it goes completely off screen, like now, there you go, then it gets culled. But then as soon as one part of it, one little bit of it, comes inside of the buffer area, then the entire object gets recreated. So that was something that I tested on an old project because now I'm using very specific tiles, right? They're all blocks. But the moment I tried it on an old project, I was like, uh-oh, this needs to be fixed. Another thing was the tiled sprites, right? So when you put a tiled sprite, you usually stretch it. The old version did not return or recreate the objects with the same size it was culled. It recreated with the standard size, or the one where when you create the object, it has that specific thing, right, that you gave it. This gets recreated with the size it got culled with. I hope that makes sense. For example, this red bar thing, right? I'm adjusting it. The object is not this size. For example, if I delete it, let's use a block, right? It's the same. It's a tiny block, so that's the actual size of the block. So now I'm going to stretch it. I'm going to give it a new size. And if I run the preview, and now I delete it, let's delete it this way. If I go get him off screen, there we go. Now if we recreate, see, has the exact same size. When the objects now get deleted, they get a bunch of properties now get stored. The angles, like as you can tell, this one on the side has an angle. When it gets deleted, come back, the angle is the same. The size, the angle, the opacity, the variables, which is very important. It restores object variables. Like all your object variables are stored. I'm not sure if the last one did that. I can't remember if the version I showed on video did that. But to show you, the blocks have 6 HP. If you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we get them off screen. Now we come back. 1, 2, 3, and it's broken. And this one didn't go off screen, but that should be 2 hits. There we go. It's off screen. And now 1, 2. There we go. It broke. So it remembers the variables. And one of the things I was thinking about was I want to create stuff in this game with seeds. Like I want to plant a tree. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to use timers. But then I was like, oh man, if the object gets culled, so does the timer. But I fixed it and I made it work with object timers. Now check this out. If I plant a tree, I put that object there. I think it's 10 seconds and the tree should be popping up anytime. There we go. And then the tree gets created. Also, the Z order. If you check the Z order, like so the tree is behind and the leaves are in front, if we get them both off screen and we recreate them, the Z order remains the same. So the Z order is stored as well, if I'm not mistaken. But the object timers, those were a big thing. Let me make my character be Superman. Now, if I give a bunch of these, get them off screen, culled, and then I come back, they're all going to create into trees. See? Because the object timer still works. The logic behind this is I create the object, it gets an object timer, and once the object timer goes above 10 seconds, then poop, there we go, tree. And this works, right? So if you keep them off screen, we just wait 10 seconds. When we go back, you're going to see the square for a millisecond because it's the object being recreated. And then the timer gets updated because the way it works is when it gets cold, we store the value of the timer. So if the timer is at 3, we store the 3, right? And then when the object gets recreated, we check how long it was between the object being deleted and the object being recreated. And then we give it a timer, give it the object timer with the same name. And then if it's been like 5 seconds since the object was deleted, we add the 5 to the value of 3, and that's the new timer. So basically, it's as if the timer never stopped. Anyways, if you go back, you're going to see the orange square for a second, and then pop comes a tree. There you go. So you can use object timers. This is so cool. This took like a day to work out how the heck this was going to, how was this happening? You know, how do I get object timers to work? But eventually it did work. So now it does a bunch of stuff. Short of testing for collision, and that's not going to happen. So the testing for collision is basically impossible without losing a bunch of performance. Because to test for collision, something needs to exist there. And for it to be available for everyone without making like custom objects, you need to recreate the object. You need to say like, oh, when this is near this, then you recreate the object for a second. Or you make it so that the object is being recreated and deleted constantly, nonstop, right? And this would like check for collision every like 5 milliseconds or whatever, something like that, right? So it's just checking once in a while. It's just not constantly, and that's awful. You know, there's no way that I thought of that collision could work. It's just it doesn't happen. For collision to happen, the object must exist. But the reason why I'm doing this in the first place is because GDevelop is not very good at handling objects, right? So it's just the performance tanks instantly. The moment we do it, it's just performance bye-bye. And just so you can see, I am on the debugger, right? Why do I have no debugger? What is going on? Okay. Do we have debugger now? No. Why is my debugger not working? I am looking at the right thing, right? Yeah. No preview? Are you on drugs? Game? Engine? Are you okay? Do you feel good? Let's try saving. Are you feeling alright? Do you need to go rest? I'm 100% sure I don't even think I can disable the profiler. Wait, that's not it. Let's close that. Man, there's always something now, isn't it? You think like, oh, everything's going okay. This is going to be a quick video, and then it's like something happens. Is it going to work now? Debugger is loading. Okay. It does that sometimes. And we have, yes, we have debugger now. Right. So I'm not really sure what the performance of this is going to be like. Oh, that's not good. That's not going to be a good test because I have the buffer area so small. But just for curiosity, so we can see the difference between the two. Also, the culling is working overtime now because the world is being generated, so the objects are constantly being culled. Also, the link for this is in the description. You can get 4.0. It's about 200 lines of awesome sauce. Yeah, or 4.77 because the screen is so tiny. The actual script though is running pretty hot because it was working overtime. Where is it? JavaScript new test timers to 0.80. That's the script. Yeah. Man, I'm so happy with this. I think it's finally done. I don't think there's anything like short of little things like adding a variable for you to like select which layer you want the culling to happen on. There isn't much else to be done on this. Also, when you go to copy paste, you can double check. It's 209 lines. The 210 is just empty. There's nothing. But so the other one was like what 77 lines. This is up to 209 lines because it's checking for so much stuff. At the beginning of the scene, the culling is to minus 200. Let's put it to something sensible like 250. We don't need anything bigger than that. Hit preview. And now, to be fair, let's run it again while it's running in overtime. And let's make the platformer object. Also, I want to show you something real quick after this. It's the only thing you need to be careful with. It's the physics. If you add something with physics, like a platformer object that you need to check the terrain underneath, you're gonna have to like find some sort of solution to like work with that. Because if you're culling the earth under them, then they're gonna fall through the earth, right? So 5.98 ms, 1.71 on objects, and 1.47 on the actual events. And the actual script is where is it? Exclude objects. JavaScript. There we go. JavaScript 0.78. Yeah. Oh yeah. I wanted to show you the platformer thing, right? So let's close our game. We don't need this. Let's get rid of that. Let's grab an enemy because the enemies are platformers. Let's make it big like that. And now he's gonna fall through the floor, most likely. There you go. So now he's sitting. And oh wait, I should make the world smaller so you can see what the heck I'm talking about. Let's go on to our events. Let's change the buffer to minus 200 so you can see the world being deleted. There you go. All right, and now check this out. So this is the one thing you need to be careful with. If you have a platformer object, obviously, if it's not being deleted, if it's not being culled, right? For example, we have this example, right? Then he's still trying to interact with the platforms, right? Look at that. If I go like this, it's fine, right? Because the platform is being created and then the platformer object. But if I go all the other way around, then he's going to disappear because he has no platform, so now he fell down. And then when I go back, he gets recreated, but he gets recreated on top of a platform, so he keeps, as you can see him, he's like being pushed down and down and down and down. and eventually he's just gonna get pushed into the nether like that. Sorry. So that's the one thing you need to like pay attention to is when you're dealing with platformer objects, you want to make sure or find some sort of way around it. Right? But other than that, that's like the two things: is be careful with platformer objects, and what was the other thing? Oh yeah, collision. Yeah, platformer objects and collision. And that's it. Everything else, like it remembers 1, 2, 3, 4. So now it's 2. Go out, come back. It still remembers the variables, right? So 1, 2. There you go. It remembers the timers. We can plant some trees. We go off screen. The timer's still rolling. We come back, and now we start getting trees, right? So this is pretty awesome. This script is pretty close to perfect. And I'd say like it's pretty there, right? Because other the collision thing, it just doesn't work. I've tried a million times with multiple different ways. I tried reading about R trees or whatever, or quadra something something. It does not work. For as long as the object exists, it's sucking up a bunch of performance out of your project. The objects need to be culled for you to get a substantial increase in performance, right? At least as far as I can tell. Maybe, someone who's a wizard at this kind of stuff, they can figure it out, but I'm not. I'm a simple person. I work in simple ways. I'm simple-minded, and this works. To me, this is fine. I can work around this, and it's so freeing to me. This completely opens up GDevelop because I can have massive worlds. I don't have to worry about my projects having to be tiny or my scenes having to be tiny. This works amazingly, right? Anyways, so this was the showcase of version 4.0. Links are in the description. Well, on the side, one of the sides. I'm gonna put it on the comments as well if you want. Just check description. There's a link to the guide. You just copy paste. You follow the guide, and then at the end you copy paste the script, which is 209 lines. Well, 210. The last one's empty, right? But it's 209 lines. That's the important ones. This doesn't matter if it's empty, right? It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. There's just one thing that I'm not really sure on. Maybe it's being redundant, and that's when the timer is created, it's being reset for some reason. But I don't know. I'll check into that. But it makes no difference. It literally makes no difference. So who cares? Other than just being a perfectionist. But maybe there's a reason for that. Anyways. This is 4.0. I think this is going to be the last one. I can't think of anything else. I'm finally going to start working on my game. My God, it's been like 6 days actually. It's been a week. It's been a week since I've had progress on my game. Well, this counts as progress. This counts as progress because it's going to be heavily used in this game, right? But I want to do something fun. The closest thing I did to do something fun is this. I plant a tree. I wait 10 seconds. Tree comes out. This is the closest thing I've done to like doing something fun. I want to do like collect objects. I want to, I don't know, do build mode. I want to do a bunch of cool stuff. And I think I'm going to do that starting tomorrow. I'm just going to be like, nope, script is fine. I don't need any more of this nonsense, none of this technical stuff. I'm just going to work on my game. Okay? So tomorrow me is warned. We're working on the game. End of. Alright, anyways. That's enough babbling. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, subscribe, leave a like, check the description, do all that jazz, and I'll see you guys on the next episode, video, whatever, right? Check you guys on the next one. Till then, peace out.